You are listening to Fox Radio 910 and 104.3. I want to welcome you to Let's Talk About, our weekly radio program sponsored by Crowning Touch Senior Moving Services of Roanoke, Virginia. My name is Linda Balentine, the president of Crowning Touch and your host for this series. I interview local characters, service providers, politicians, teachers, entrepreneurs, and business professionals, and each one is dedicated to improving life in our valley. Every person has an interesting perspective to share from all walks of life. So, let's begin today's interview. Well, good morning, Holly.
Good morning.
I'm sitting with Holly Hale, and she is our auction house manager at Crowning Touch Senior Moving. And there just aren't too many auction houses around, and I wasn't even familiar with auction houses before we started one 20-some years ago. But I thought people might appreciate the story of our auction and then hear some real-life stories from you, because you set up the most amazing auction. It's like an event. It's a stage production.
Mm-hmm.
It is. And so I'm just as excited now every time we have an auction as I ever was when we first started. But I wanted to fill people in. So we started Crowning Touch as a senior moving company, and then we added the consignment shop because we wanted to help seniors with their issues of what to do when they're moving with the extra stuff.
Right.
The stuff that the kids don't want.
Mm-hmm.
So the consignment shop handled that for about 5 years for us. But there was so much more that we couldn't handle. We couldn't sell cars in the consignment shop. We couldn't sell outdoor tools and furniture. We couldn't sell woodworking tools and other appliances. We just didn't have the room.
Right.
So the building next door to us was not being used very much. We're at 6704 Williamson, but the 6712, which is where you're at now,
yes, ma'am,
was owned by Kentucky School Supply. I don't know if you ever remembered them, but it was a family. A woman started that company selling supplies to teachers and homeschoolers.
Oh.
And she was from Kentucky, and so were her children. They only had they had 6 operations and 2 in Virginia, and one of them was next to us. But when we got to the place where we needed to expand, because I couldn't do it in the consignment shop, I ended up calling them up. And because there wasn't much traffic in the parking lot.
Right.
And this is just a way that businesses grow organically.
Mm-hmm.
And when I called him up and just asked him if he wanted to sell his building, you know what he said? He said, well, that's an answer to prayer. And because he said, we run 2 in Virginia. They aren't doing very well. We can handle the Kentucky operations, but make me an offer. And so I said, I'll call you back in 15 minutes.
Yeah, God is good.
I know. So I hung up the phone. I met with my consignment manager at the time.
Mm-hmm.
We came up with the dollar amount, called him back, and he said, I'll take it.
Wow.
And, within 30 days, he was out of there, and we had that building. So then we actually weren't sure exactly how to do an auction. We know we needed an auctioneer. So we got one. We got an auctioneer, and we ran the auction business for about 1.5 years. Well, we were wildly successful with our auctions, but like any brand new company, there are always bumps in the road. We were so successful that one of our competitors actually tried to bring us down, and they called the fire marshal on us because our crowds were really big. And we had 3 exits. Everything was fine, but the fire marshal, we were all set up for a Saturday auction. Everything was in place. Fire marshal came in and said, well, you can't have the auction. We've had a complaint, and we need to investigate. And he said, do you have we had to file for the right to assemble, which is what churches have.
Right.
Now, this auctioneer who was doing our auctions he was from Franklin County. He had never had to have a right to assemble. We didn't know anything about it. And he said, well, because somebody called in and complained, I can't let you do your auction. And so we said, well, what if we get rid of all the chairs? It's because we had the chairs all lined up. We had about 150 people every time. And he said, well, yeah, if you get the chairs and people are just walking around, then you're like a retail operation. And you don't have to meet that assembly requirement.
Exactly.
So we got rid of all the chairs, but we had no auctioneer then. We had to suspend the auctioneer and figure out how we were going to sell these things that were already set up to sell, because we had an obligation to our consigners. So we went ahead and just set up big tables and had people come on up and bid into notebooks. We lotted everything into a notebook, and then people would come and place their bids.
Wow.
And at the end of the auction, they would all stand around. It took us about a half hour to collate everything and figure out who the winner was. And people loved it. But, we did that for several months until one of our clients, one of our real fans, came on up and said, I could write you a software program to do all of this for you. We can put it on big screens. Everybody can see it and get rid of these notebooks, and everybody can watch the bids in real time. So we thought that was terrific. Well, we had an auctionees program. We did that I don't know, for 10 years at least.
Yeah, customers still talk about that.
I know.
How much they loved it and how we used to have the ladies there with the food.
Oh, I know. It was a lot of fun.
They miss those days.
I know, because now they're bidding from home. But we had to go into that stage when COVID hit.
Yeah.
So there was the other bump in the road. And both of these things were helped spur the growth of our business in the end, because it was like making lemonade out of lemons. So when we had the COVID, we were all shut down. The consignment shop was closed for a year and a half. And the auction house, we created an appointment calendar. You could only we had 7,000 square feet.
Right.
You could only allow 10 people at a time because you had to maintain 6 feet of clearance between these people as they wandered. So we let people opt in for half-hour appointments.
Right.
But it meant that we couldn't really show everything. Prior to that time, we'd been taking 300 plus pictures. How many do you take now, Holly?
1,700 and up.
And that's why, because we decided that we could just go ahead and picture everything.
Right.
Then the clients could sit at home where they felt safer and bid or come through ahead of time. So we added an extra day of bidding. We went from 2 to 3 days. And then that allowed them to wander. Well, we got through the whole COVID season, and now we've glommed on to our new system,
right,
which people really seem to appreciate, because now you can bid from any device, and I'll let you tell us all about that. But that brings us pretty much to where we're at now,
right,
where we take all of these pictures that you are in charge of. I can't even imagine, it was just my husband, myself, and a couple of other people doing the auction, because taking 300 pictures was no big deal.
Right.
Taking 1,700 pictures and setting up all of that stuff in the way that you do is just a marathon event. And I just want to give you all the credit, because
thank you.
It is an incredible, you've mastered it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And it is quite an amazing thing. You do have some helpers.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us, let's talk about all the types of items and all the types of things you bring. You know what? I think I'd like to do it this way. I want you to start with an empty auction, because after we have an auction, we empty the auction house.
Right.
Now what happens?
So on Wednesday after the auction, that's the final day for pickup. Everyone has picked their goodies up. They're home loving their stuff that they bid on the previous weekend. And we immediately start moving things over from our storage units into our auction house, setting it up, checking everything out. You wouldn't believe, we just get the coolest things. Like this coming up auction, we're going to have Star Wars new in box, all the action figures. We also have vintage Star Wars, vintage G.I. Joe dolls. We've got antique scales, Crocs. Anything you can think of comes across each month. And it's really cool. Everyone gets to see something new and different. You're learning something new every day. Because, of course, if I don't know what it is, I'm going to research. And,
that's right.
And then you go down the history hole, and then you're like, wow. And you learn so much about each item. And then as you're lotting it into the system, you put those descriptions in. So the people that are at home and can't come in, they're like, oh, that's what that is. And then they can do their own research and see if they really want to pay big money for it, or if they're like, that's cool, but I'm going to skip and save my money for next month.
That's right. I got you. And we have a real regular clientele. You have people come from quite a long ways away.
Yes, I have quite a few that come from Northern Virginia. They also come from North Carolina. And a lot of the people are also consigners with us, where they bring items into us for the auction and they watch those items go and they're like, wow. And then they go back to Northern Virginia to auctions up there and buy things. And it's a lot of people are really involved.
Yeah, we have people come from North Carolina. We have people come from Lynchburg and certainly from the Blacksburg, Christiansburg area. We have, there's a lot of traffic.
And West Virginia. And we have a few that come from West Virginia.
Wow. So we actually send out a notice once a month to alert people, because our auction runs, we have one a month. But because of holidays and everything, sometimes there's 4 weeks or maybe 5 weeks between one auction and the next.
Right.
So how can they find out about this next auction? Our next one, by the way, is when?
Valentine's weekend,
all right.
13th, 14th, and 15th. And while people are picking up for their auction items that they won, we also tell them verbally, hey, next auction. And we'll have it on our sign out by the street. So if you're driving by, it'll be lit up, flashing when our next auction is.
Okay.
We're working on getting it put onto the website when it says, thank you for viewing our site. then we'll have when the next one is.
Well, we do have it on our website on different pages.
Right. But if you're going to the Bid Online website, it'll say, thank you for viewing. Please check back.
Oh, we have to fix that.
Yeah, that way. But we are always verbal with it. And then if people call, if they come in and want to walk around, of course, we can't let them because it's a madhouse. Things are everywhere.
It's not even safe in there. In other words, we've
safe.
got cords stretched all over the place and boxes open and litter in the aisles.
No clear path. But, we have a clear path because we know how to get in and out. But as far as customers being able to come in and walk around before the auction, we just can't allow it because it's wild.
But after that, when you've got it all set up, it's even wheelchair accessible, isn't it? People can come through with baby strollers.
Absolutely.
And scooters and all sorts of
animals.
That's right.
We make it to where it's easy for you all, and we try not to overwhelm you with a lot of stuff to where you can't get through and you're like, holy crap, I've got to come back. And there's too much to look at. And a lot of people do come back all 3 days because we have a lot.
Yeah.
We've got the outdoor area. If we don't have a car or a boat or an RV, we've got all the things you need for your husband's outdoor items that you would need.
And it's very seasonal too, because sometimes we have, during hunting season, we have hunting gear. In the spring, we have a lot of fishing gear. I mean, sometimes we'll have that stuff all year long, but we try and feature the stuff that's seasonally relatable.
And we also have an electric heater coming up in February auction.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, because people are going to need it with this crazy weather.
I know it. But that's really neat. All right, so we've already told everybody that they don't have to be moving.
No.
They don't have to be a moving client to consign things, but if they do want to consign, we've got a system for that.
Yeah, they would reach out to Savannah Davis. She is our retail manager. If they give myself or Anna Maria a call, we immediately will give them Savannah's number. They reach out to her, and then she'll say, hey, can I see some pictures of it?
Right.
That way she can let everyone know if we even have a market for the items, because we never want to say, yeah, we could sell that, and then everyone be disappointed because we couldn't.
And she also gives them an idea of what they can expect, correct?
Yeah.
And what will happen, whether she puts it in the consignment shop or the auction house.
Right. And since our goal is to sell it, if she decides, hey, we're going to put this in the consignment shop, if it's, over there for a couple months and doesn't move, she'll shuffle it over. That way, everything gets an ample opportunity to be sold.
That's right. And the reverse happens, because if things don't sell in the auction house, what do?
They go right to the consignment shop.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so most places don't have that double menu.
Right.
If you take things into a consignment shop here in town, or any of the ones that I know about, they have some 90-day agreement that says that at the end of 90 days, they retain that and they give you nothing for it. What percentage do we give the
people? It's a 50-50 split.
Okay. And that doesn't change. Is that correct?
And it's actually very easy for our consigners, because if they drop it off to us, they're hands-free until they receive their check.
That's right.
All they have to do is sign their check at the bank.
And we give them a check within 30 days.
Yes.
Whether it sells at the consignment shop or not. And we can tell them they get an inventory report, correct?
Yes.
What does that report tell them?
It'll tell them, so if it was in the auction house, it'll say at the top, Crowning Touch Auction House, and then it'll have the detailed statement of what we lotted. So each item has a lot number, and it'll have that number, the description, what it sold for, the split, and then at the end of that, it has the tally of what they're taking home, and then the check is there, and they just sign and enjoy their money.
And you also list for them, for their benefit, all of the items that they might have consigned and that didn't sell, so that they can see that there was no sale on certain things, and they can expect that to be either transferred to the consignment shop, or sometimes you'll go ahead and run it through the auction again.
Right.
If it's a hot item, every time we have an auction doesn't mean that the new home and the right buyer shows up for that particular item. And so we're faithful. We are faithful to, push it, hold on to it, especially things of value.
Right.
And how do you protect things of value?
We set everything at a reserve price.
Okay.
That way it's not everything starting at $1.
Right.
And then if it doesn't sell, we have our post-auction sale, which all of the items are available at the reserve price. So if we have a $600 safe that didn't sell in the auction, we have 4 days for them, Sunday through Wednesday after auction. It runs with auction pickup, where they can purchase that. It's just like Amazon. They go to our website, they see the item they want, they click add to cart. once they've added everything, if they click that cart and then hit checkout,
Right.
they come in, pay, and leave with those items at the reserve price. So they would pay $600. If they didn't want to get into that bidding war, that's what they could do. And that's Sunday through Wednesday after the auction. If it doesn't sell then, we will give it another go in the auction or consignment shop.
That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
Now, sometimes people will pull up. They'll bring things that maybe they would have added to a list that Savannah might have approved, but they sort of did it on their own. It's in their truck, and they're hoping that we can sell it. I know that I've seen you advise people, we just can't do anything with that. And we'll have that situation even with moving clients. There'll be stuff we'll be cleaning out a basement. There'll be stuff for the auction, stuff at the consignment shop. And then there's always stuff to be donated.
Right.
You help funnel all of that, don't you? We find people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we don't want to throw anything away because
that people can
we have really nice furniture. And regardless if someone loves it or not in this market, someone needs that.
That's correct.
So we never want to throw anything away. We will donate it. We donate to St. Joseph's. I'm not for sure the full name of it, but there's a St. Joseph's that we donate to, Goodwill, and also if there's a family that stops by and they're in need.
Yeah, we get churches that call us. We have the Red Cross, other people call us, and we're constantly donating.
Right.
So, battered women, shelters, Ram House, the rescue mission, all sorts of people need stuff, and we just go ahead and take it where it's needed.
Yes.
And generally the consignor knows if something is at that place, and then they're happy to donate because nobody wants their stuff to go to the landfill. It's just unnecessary.
Well, and everyone has their stuff because they love it. So no one wants to
That's
part with that. It's
right.
like, I love that. I don't want to part with it. And then to have to part with it, you want to make sure it goes to a good home, that someone's going to love it as much as you did.
That's very, very important. We also do something that no other auction house that I know of does. We guarantee everything to work. If you sell a washing machine or a big screen TV or a chainsaw, we guarantee that works. Now, there is a phrase in the auction business called as is, where is. It's printed on everything. And almost every auction house, like I say, I've never heard of one that guarantees all that we do. And the reason we can guarantee it is that we've been in the house and seen it work. Or we have tested it before we put it on the floor. So if you buy a chainsaw and it doesn't work, you can bring it back. And we give you your money back if you do it within that first week, I think it is. We give them a week to figure it out.
So if they pick it up on Tuesday, they have 3 days to let us know, hey, I got home, this doesn't work, and we will make it right. And of course, if we know that something isn't proper, we will put that in the description as is. That way you're aware that it does have a little kink.
Right.
So that way you can check it out and see if you really want to bid on that.
Right. Every once in a while, you'll have some dryer come through or something, and somebody will say, well, you could, it'll run great for a half hour. And then you have to restart it. But if you just close that, that's all people really want to know. But the fact that we guarantee it is really good for the consignor because it means that in our auction, we get more money for those items than you would see in a traditional auction because they do run, they do operate, and people are confident to put their money down.
Yeah.
And then how do we handle cars and boats? And we do reserves for those, but we do the research. We tell you exactly what you can expect to get. That's also a different contract.
Right.
Correct?
It is.
And then and then we go ahead and feature those.
Right. And we put them in the front and we make them front and center, lot number 1. And we give it all the love because we know that you guys loved it. And so we want to love it and give it away just as much as y'all do to the right person. So as long as, we make it look good and everyone knows
it's clean, it's inspected, the cars are all inspected,
it's in good shape. We wouldn't take a beater or a lemon and be like, hey, come get this.
No, we don't do that.
No.
Alrighty, so let me see here. I've got some other questions we've already talked about. I want you to tell me about are there any funny stories? I know we have sold some wild stuff.
We have.
In there. Does anything come to mind for you? Do you remember some of that taxidermied stuff? Didn't we sell some?
Yeah, we did. And then there were a few. We had an art lover that had some risque art. Oh. And there were some customers that were not very pleased with that. Obviously it's art.
Right.
So we didn't want to offend anyone, but some people were offended. So we do have some beautiful art that comes through.
Yeah.
So if you have art and you're like, I don't think they'd take that, we will take anything, basically.
That's right.
As long, it's in good shape and there is some kind of market for it. And Savannah, again, will let you know that. But the art, that was funny because the customers were like, oh my gosh, can we cover that up?
Well, they need to go through the National Gallery of Art and see, how exposed some figures are. But
and we've had a large armoire for a few months that a gentleman was working in California at an antique shop. That whole family was in Scotland or Ireland. And they were in another country.
Right.
They would fill up storage containers.
Oh, wow.
And send them to the guy in
okay.
California.
Gotcha.
Well, he didn't have any family. So when he passed, he left everything to his employee.
Right.
Well, they moved back to Virginia. And now they have this massive collection of antiques.
Right.
And they don't, the wife is like, well, we can keep certain things, but, where are we going to put almost 9-foot armoire that's, probably 6 foot wide?
Right.
So they did consign that with us. And as he was putting it together, he was talking to me and he said, yeah, I have an 8.5-foot Apollo statue in my bathroom. And he shows me the picture and he's, shooting the arrow and there's a leaf. And he is like, they had a sense of humor back then. There's screws where you can take that leaf off and, and it was so funny because he was showing me the pictures and I was like, wow, that's, and to have that in your bathroom, that's a massive bathroom.
No kidding.
So, and then he was showing me all the antiques that he's collected and, some of them he knows he'll never get what they're worth. So he would rather keep them.
Right.
But a lot of them he's given to us and they're in the consignment shop.
We have marble busts. We have a beautiful piece of Eisenbeck art.
Yeah.
Right? Eisendyke. And stuff that is worthy of a gallery.
Absolutely.
But we have it in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have just managed to post some of those to Shopify now, which is our other 24/7 shopping avenue for special pieces that we think are, a wider national audience might appreciate.
Right.
So you can go to crowningtouchmarket.com and check out all of these things that we have on Shopify.
Yeah. We have so many venues for you to snatch up these antiques, oddities, things that you would love that you don't even know that you love.
Right.
And we've got the Shopify, and then that's 24/7. We also have the consignment shop that's Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 5.
Right.
Our monthly auctions.
Right.
Then after the auction, we've got the 4-day after auction sale.
That's right.
So you guys, we are
pumping
Yes.
some household goods through the market. And I'm sure we are the biggest and most reliable auction house around because we're the one that has an auction every month. There is no other auction that has 1,800 items every month. You said this month we are maybe pushing 1,900, you think?
Yeah, we have a lot going on this month.
That is tremendous.
And we have a lot of table runners and placemats. So if you're looking to get your all-season decor for your dining room, you need to come check it out. We've got plenty.
We have lots of jewelry. And precious coins as well. And Mike and Maria have been with us for many, many years. And they feature a big display case in the middle of our auction house. Yeah. And they have gold and silver. It's a great place to reinvest your money if you don't think the
economy's
That's right. The market is doing what you
never know.
want it to do. But it's a lot of fun because Maria's there. You can try. And I'm particularly mentioning it this time because for Valentine's Day, we always have a giveaway. So we aren't going to share that right now, but we will.
Yeah, stay tuned.
If you are on our mailing list, you will find out. But it's always fun because we have drawings.
Yep.
And we give away something special for your mom or your wife or your girlfriend.
And gets everyone excited. And then gets everyone out. During the winter time, people are really freezing, especially in this weather. So everyone's staying inside. But the auction, it's basically a party for 3 days where you guys can come, cut up with us, fall in love with things, go home and be like, you know what, I really miss them. I want to go back.
Yeah.
And you come and hang out with us the next 2 days.
I know, it's great. Why don't we also mention that we're always looking for good help?
Yes.
We've had a couple, the last person, I think that was your sidekick, had to retire, so to speak, because she was going to have a baby.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't replaced her yet.
No.
And if there's somebody listening, or you know of somebody who loves antiques and collectibles, who loves to do research, who has a good sensibility for detail, and who is willing to come be trained by Holly and have a very, very fun job, which is like 8:30 to 5, right? With
Yes,
only
ma'am.
maybe one Saturday a month.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great opportunity for somebody. So we just wanted to spread the word. And it's going to take a while for us to find that right person.
It will. But they're out there, and God's going to provide them.
That's right. And it's just a lot of fun. I think it's a lot of fun to work there. I know I love coming in and seeing after you are all set up. It still just so totally amazes me, this whole production that you do. Holly, I want to take the time to mention to everybody that we also do pickup and delivery.
Yes.
Which means if they buy something supersized that they need to have handled or carried up to the top floor of their house, we have a great team.
Yes, we do.
And the equipment to go ahead and deliver it safely. And the flip side of that is if they're going through their house and they want to, maybe they aren't moving, but they would like to get rid of something, but they need help. Don't we do pickup as well?
Absolutely. Say you have a leather sofa and it's in beautiful condition, but now you want a lazy boy reclining sofa that we have.
Right.
You go ahead and you shoot the bullet and you're like, that's mine. And then you want to get rid of that leather sofa. You would just reach out to us. Savannah would say, hey, not a problem. When the guys deliver, they'll pick that up. They'll bring it straight in to us and then we'll sell it. So it'll be a win-win for you because yes, you got the lazy boy reclining sofa you wanted, but you're also going to get money for your other sofa that you were getting rid of.
And we have a very, very professional team because the team we send into your home has been going into homes for almost 30 years and moving things professionally. So we wrap up everything. We're not scuffing your walls.
No, they take great.
And we aren't tearing up the furniture pieces themselves.
Yeah, they take great pride in their job, and they want to make sure that you're just as satisfied with their services as you are with the consignment shop, the auction house, the
and
packers,
everything.
all of us.
Well, thank you, Holly. I think
you.
we've run out of time today, but I really, really appreciate you taking the time to share all of this with us. And now everybody just needs to come and visit you at the next auction, February 13th, 14th, and 15th.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
You've been listening to Let's Talk About, courtesy of Crowning Touch Senior Moving Services of Roanoke, Virginia, the only moving company with a consignment shop, auction house, and real estate division. We are a one-stop shop for any senior making a move. Check out our website at crowningtouchusa.com. Or if you are planning a move, call Anna at 540-982-5800 to arrange a free estimate. And don't forget to check out our monthly browse and bid auctions at 6712 Williamson Road in Roanoke, where you can bid online on over 1,800 items each month. Meanwhile, let's get back together next Friday at noon for more of Let's Talk About on Fox 910 and 104.3.